And we're going live. Welcome to the Tesla Talks podcast, everyone. This is the last week in November. I think this is podcast number 31. Can you believe that we've actually made it 31 episodes with some days off or some weeks off here and there in between? We have a special guest. This is a special episode because, for one, it's a special time. We're doing this in the middle of the afternoon, and if my internet connection craps out, well,
it's my fault. Sorry.
No, it's actually not our special guest's fault. It's actually the fault because it just happens, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes on.
It has to be right now at the worst time. It has to be now.
No, it isn't. But that guy talking, you guys recognize to my right there on the screen, you recognize Franklin, you recognize Paul from Tesla Connect. But the new guy, yes, his name is Drew, Tailosive EV. He's got an awesome YouTube channel and podcast.
Oh, thank you, Dax.
Blowing up everywhere. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
It's our pleasure to have you here. Not to take anything away from all my other normal guests, channels and accounts and everything. They do an awesome job too. I think
not as awesome.
I think no, we all do, or you guys all do a good job. But what I was to say is I think all the Tesla, YouTube, Twitter influencers and people that are all on social media, I think we've got Tesla covered and well represented. I think there's no shortage of Tesla news and stuff like that on the internet, thanks to YouTube and thanks to social media. Yeah, and I forgot to ask you guys how the sound sounds, so we'll just go with it. If you can't hear me or if I get garbled every now and then, we'll just deal with it as it goes along. But thanks for coming on to the show, Drew. Like I said before we went live, this is a very laid back, very easygoing show. Let me introduce the other guys before we...
It's actually a show about nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Seinfeld.
I'll get the base.
Yeah, some of the tangents we go on. Yeah, it definitely is. Speaking there, his name is Paul, Tesla Canuck. He's back
I'm the joker of the group. I'm sorry.
Nothing wrong with being a joker. Looking good and sounding good. Thanks for joining us, Paul.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And last but not least, the FSD Beta Canada campaign manager, also known as Franklin. That's a mouthful, buddy. Did you type that all by yourself? Did you have your mom help you with that?
No, wow.
Now, I do think I used that hashtag before you did.
Nope. I'm the official first person.
I don't know.
I went back. I scrolled. Actually, I did a tweet about this a couple of days ago. I scrolled all the way down to when it started. You're the first official person to join the campaign.
I see. Okay.
But it took you 2 days after I spammed it for 2 days.
Guys, let's not fight in front of our guests. We have company. We can't fight in front of
I won't pick sides here.
Yes. At the end of this argument, it's going to turn into, "Hey, Drew, who do you side for?" and all that. You'll get caught right in
FSD Beta Canada. That's the end of the day side.
So
divide the guests.
How is that campaign coming along there, Franklin?
It's actually picked up an insane amount over the last week.
Really?
So when I started it, you can actually scroll through and you can see the history. It's mostly me and then a couple of you guys putting in tweets every so often. And now, at any given day, there's probably 15, 20, 25 people that use it.
Oh, nice.
So it's
awesome.
It's getting there. We're up to day 35. I try to put out one tweet every day, something unique, something that's a joke based off of it. And it's progressively getting harder without repeating. So hopefully, it's becoming a challenge.
Nobody remembers your tweets from 10 days ago. Trust me.
I don't know. Some of them are memorable, I hope.
Okay.
So is there nothing legally preventing them from rolling it out to Canada, or does Canada have any laws that could prevent it from coming there?
Many laws.
We have the laws. Dax, your video is frozen, by the way. And
I know. You can still hear me, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll fix this. So
it's a nice
anyway.
No.
So the truth of the
matter. Keep talking.
Is,
I'll figure it out on my own.
The truth of the matter is, and I'm going to tell you honestly, this is how our government works and all our regulatory agencies. This is exactly how they work. So the U.S. says, what does the U.S. say? U.S. says I was going to use an analogy with a dog. How can I do this? The U.S. says wag your tail, and we do. So, so if the U.S. approves that, Canada, rubber stamp, boom, that's how it works.
So
challenge me if I'm wrong.
Basically, if you go by Smart Summon and the navigation on autopilot, we're looking at 3 to 4 weeks before the Canadian government approves it.
Yes, but it's still a rubber stamp.
It is, yeah. And basically what they want to do is they want to say, hey, USA, use this for, a month. Show us the data. Is it safe? Thanks for testing stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's a lot more of us, so they can guinea pig.
Exactly, right? And then it's like, okay, let's make it happen, right? So
is it good enough for Canada?
Pretty much. The only thing with this is it's really interesting. I don't know if it's actually going to happen now, and I say that I'm still hoping it does, obviously, for the sake of those daily posts. But the fact that we are getting snow and it's not going to work as well without lines and stuff. I mean, obviously they want to get that type of data. I just don't know if they want to get it that soon and that quickly, because obviously with ice, it increases the risk factor of something bad happening.
Right, sure.
And then that's bad press, so on and so forth. But at the same time, Chris got it, which is in Michigan, Dirty Tesla. So
I was just watching his video this morning. It seemed to be doing okay despite the weather. So
yeah,
with the big
I was impressed.
So yeah, no, Chris has great videos. I love watching Chris.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, so all jokes aside, I'll continue the joke for up until we get it, and I've had a lot of fun with it, but we'll see.
Some people aren't happy with you though, Franklin.
I've had one.
Really?
I've had a couple. Yeah.
Why are they mad?
Apparently, a gentleman said he speaks on behalf of Elon that I should be the last one to get it, and that really backfired on him because the number of people that spammed him after. I feel bad. The
motherfucker army came alive.
Yeah, don't. So anyway,
I mean, Dirty Tesla spammed it. That's how he got it.
He has a really strong following, right?
He does.
Yeah. It seemed to work for him, so I don't know why. There's no track record saying this doesn't work. So
yeah.
Well, that's Franklin's.
That's my goal.
Yeah,
that's my goal here. Spam it till it happens. No.
With Elon, it seems to work pretty well.
Yes,
but it would be. I don't know if funny is the right word. Maybe tragic if you were the last to get it in Canada.
Or he blocks me.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be pretty tragic.
I
hope that's not it.
Angry.
No.
Tragic backfire.
Yeah, we got your back there, Franklin. Unless Elon tells us we can't get it if we associate with you, then
you're on your own.
Wow.
Nice knowing you.
Well, if that's the case, I really hope Tesla recalls my 3.
Okay.
No. Before we do the recalls, we have to talk to Drew. Down here a little bit. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's just something like I was mentioning earlier. It's something that we do with all our special guests that come on the podcast. We just take a minute or two and just get to know you a little bit. I mean, you're on the show. We don't want to just jump right in and just be rude and everything. So we just like to get to know you a little bit. And
you're not rude. You're not rude.
We're Canadians, so I don't know if we're physically able to be rude.
It's not possible. No.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. Well, my name's Andrew Erickson. I normally go by Drew, and I run the Tailosive EV channel, which is the biggest poser of an EV channel in existence because we talk all about EVs, as I don't own one myself, but I still find the subject interesting, and I like covering the company and all the other EV startups. And I think over the next decade, it's just going to get progressively more interesting, which is why I'm doing it now. I've been doing YouTube full-time for about 3 years. Before the EV channel, I was mainly doing tech videos, usually about Apple products, but also other smartphones and tablets and watches and that kind of thing. But I've decided that the EV sector kind of stands on its own, and there's enough of an audience to dedicate its own channel. So I'm just kind of doing both now and enjoying it and enjoying meeting people like yourselves.
Awesome. Now I'm going to put you on a spot for a second and say if you, and you don't have to answer. I'm going to put you on the spot anyways, but you don't have to answer. Which one do you enjoy more, the EV Tailosive or the tech part of Tailosive? I know they're two separate ones.
Right now, I gotta say EV.
Yeah.
I think the tech world is progressively getting less and less interesting, and that's saying it as someone who's done like daily videos for the past couple of years. Well, even before I did full time, I was uploading daily. So it's been more like 5 years of covering iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, and it's starting to peak. It's kind of reached the point where the biggest leaps have been made, and now it's just kind of incremental, tiny upgrades. Whereas EV is the opposite. Like it's just now starting to get really, really interesting to the point that lots of other companies are going to come forward with their basically. How does every automaker combat the Cybertruck is the question most of the internet is asking. Like, how do you combat what Tesla is doing and how Tesla is growing and with their factories expanding and all that? So I would say just general interest wise, EV is more fun, but when there's not so much going on in the EV space, but there's a lot going on in tech, then obviously it takes a lot of priorities to cover that instead. But for now, I'll say EV. I see more of a future in it.
Awesome. Well, you're in good company because these guys over here, they're big tech guys as well as EV guys.
Yeah, I can't help it. I love tech.
Yeah.
I drive my wife crazy.
It's probably a bit more. Yeah, it's probably a bit more relatable because we're buying them more often than we buy new cars. But
yeah,
that's what got me into Tesla, right? Is the tech aspect.
Well, that's
exactly on wheels. Yeah, it's so.
I was not a car guy at all.
Yep.
I'm not. I was not interested in cars very much, but I was interested in the phones and tablets getting better. But once I started checking out Tesla, I was like, oh, so now it's like tech that can move itself around. So that's the next big thing. So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I share the same feeling.
I remember I heard you in your last podcast with your buddies, and you guys were both saying you're not car guys, but you're tech guys, and
they're becoming the same.
Yeah,
they're merging more
with the
not wrong with that.
Tesla. Yeah,
that's a good place to be.
Software updates, over-the-air updates. I think that's one of the biggest new things. It's like the electric aspect of it is one thing, but just the fact that the cars can gain features and get better with time is like unheard of pre-EV time frame. It's always been, the car, you buy it and that's when it's at its best, and then it slowly gets worse and worse and worse over time. But now they're learning to drive themselves, which I find mind blowing. So
yeah.
Eric said, let's attach a car to my tablet.
As opposed to the other way around.
Yeah.
I like the way Aaron thinks. Yeah.
Now, okay. Last question before we get into the news, and we're not going to pester you with a personal answers.
Personal questions.
We could make this whole podcast just interviewing you, which we may do in another episode. But anyways, last question: what's your favorite Tesla? If you had to buy one, I know you said you don't have one right now, but if you had to buy one, or you could see,
if I had to reserve one today that's been announced, I'd probably get the single motor Cybertruck. But I'm also very curious about the 25K model, but that hasn't been announced yet, so I can't claim that one. But depends on how they launch it and what the design is. But yeah, if we're talking already announced, Cybertruck all the way. I fell in love with it. It's amazing.
Now, did you like it from day one?
No. It took me a week or so.
Anybody?
When it first came out on stage, I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah,
I wasn't a hater. I wasn't like instantly like that sucks. It's terrible. How could they? I was just confused at first because we've all had the predetermined notion of what a pickup should look like, and when that came out, it just broke my brain. Yeah. I didn't know how to feel about it. I was just like, okay, it's kind of different. Specs seem great, but it's kind of different. And then the more I researched it and the more videos I watched on why it's designed that way and all these benefits of a stainless steel exoskeleton and the durability and the affordability of manufacturing, now that's all I want, to the point that I don't want to buy a car with paint on it because of what I've learned about the Cybertruck. So I'm like, can we just make more stainless steel cars? Like, can we just skip the whole paint thing and just, I want to live in the Blade Runner future with all the weird looking cars.
So if they had a S, X, 3 or Y stainless steel, would you opt for that?
Depending on the price is pretty, because I really don't. The main reason for those listening who don't know me before, the main reason I don't have a Tesla is because I barely drive. I work from home, as does my wife. She's in the other room working right now, and we did the math, I think, and our average daily driving is less than 5 miles per day.
Wow.
So there's very, very little driving going around right now. I still love Teslas, and I have lots of friends with them that I get to meet up and we get to try them out. That's where I did my Model Y impressions, and I've already got a few friends with Cybertruck reservations that we have scheduled to do meetups and stuff. So I'm getting the milk for free without paying for a cow right now. But if there was a lifestyle that required more driving, I would probably be closer to buying one. Would you be
interested in, let's say Robotaxi existed today, so you can use it for those 5 miles per day that you need it, but at the same time you can use it as a Robotaxi? Would that interest you?
If it's someone else's and I just pay for the ride hailing, I guess, yeah. I mean, I do have a vehicle. It's a combustion engine, but I don't love it. I've had it since high school, but for driving to the grocery store and back, it's good enough. But if there was a cheap way to just hail a Tesla taxi and it could drive me there, heck yeah, I would love to try that. I just have my doubts about how ready that is. I don't think if I bought one, I would opt it in for Robotaxi though. I don't want my car driving around other people. But if someone wants to let me ride around in theirs, that's fine.
There you go.
You hear that, Dax Paul? He doesn't want you in his Cybertruck.
Well, I would never rent out any of my Teslas. I'm not interested in the Robotaxi service personally. I just don't want someone else in my car. But actually, don't we know somebody who recently? What's that?
Did you pay for FSD?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Gotcha.
We got our first Tesla in 2017. I bought FSD, so I was one of the early investors, I think you would call it, even though it wasn't in the stock. But I was going to say, I think we know somebody who recently loaned out their car on Turo, I think, and it got kind of damaged, right?
Oh, really?
Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about, right? People don't treat things they don't own with the same respect, in my experience. So
they don't.
That's why I'm not interested in it.
They don't, and I think it's human nature almost. I mean, I hate to say it. I like to think. Yeah. I like to think that I respect people's property and even property that isn't mine, including my own and stuff like that. But I've got a rental right now, and I'll get into it later on the show. Right now. And it is a gas car, so I apologize for that. But we won't speak anymore of that. But I'm treating it nice and everything. But every now and then, like when I went to go park last night, I went to the store and I went, oh, you know what? I can park right in the front. I don't have to park like my kids hate when I park way in a parking lot and walk all the way up to the front doors of the store. They hate it.
It sucks.
What I'm accustomed to, right? But now it's like I'm in this car. It's like not to say I don't care, but I guess, maybe I don't care.
You care less.
I care less. And, and I just see that in that aspect. And I'm thinking, I don't think I can ever rent out my car.
Whereas Franklin doesn't care. He'll put all his cars in Robotaxi.
No, listen.
But it's family on Robotaxi.
I was smart because I ordered a bunch of cars for the sake of Robotaxi.
Yes.
Really? How many?
So I have 4 Ys on order and 3 Cybertrucks.
Really?
Yeah.
And they all have FSD?
Correct, yeah. Of course.
Dang. And when is delivery for those?
The Ys?
2022.
Well, no, the Ys I don't know because they're the long-range rear-wheel drive.
Oh, 4 of those.
4 of those, which everyone keeps asking. And here's my thought at the time. For something that you want on Robotaxi, we're going to make money. You want the most efficient vehicle possible. The 3 long-range rear-wheel drive is the most efficient model in terms of range. So in terms of,
if I had to get a Y, I would get that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of payback, that's the one I opted for. So
interesting.
Yeah,
that's fascinating. I wish I had that kind of money.
We all wish we had.
I just want to answer Noah's question very quickly. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. No. You want to highlight that there, Franklin, for a sec? I can't.
So Noah said, would you use Robotaxi for your own personal day-to-day, picking up kids from school, dropping you off to work,
100%,
home, wife, etc. And
sure.
Oh, for your family, yes, yeah.
See, and I've done a video on this. This is why I increase value. This is why it keeps going up, because you can technically eliminate a second vehicle, which costs tens of thousands. And
have someone get picked up from the airport when my parents fly in. I'll just be like, "Oh, Tesla, go get them."
I can't wait for someone like Earl. For anyone who doesn't know, the newest beta tester, to start up a program at like dog parks where he'll have people sitting in a dog park and your the self-driving car will pull up to the dog park. They'll take the dog out of your car, play with them, and then whenever you want to send him back home, the car will drive back up. So you can just send your dog off to the dog park in a self-driving car.
Oh, okay. That's
Right?
interesting.
And
Wait,
yeah, someone.
his idea?
No, this is my idea. I'm just saying Earl's going to implement this. I guarantee you.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
almost like mobile crating.
Yeah.
/ walking.
You have someone at a dog park that's like monitoring the dog for you, and then you send them home whenever you're done.
It's like dog mode plus.
Exactly. Yeah. Dog mode plus.
Maximum dog mode. Just dog mode.
But there's going to be so many of these cool opportunities for new businesses as soon as it becomes a thing.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be really
I agree.
fascinating. So it's a future I look forward to.
Yeah, me too. For sure.
We all look forward to the future, just maybe for different reasons and stuff like that. Well, that's good. That's good to. I mean, once again, like I said to you earlier, Drew, we started off by finding out about yourselves, and I don't know how we ended up on dog walking FSD. So these are the tangents the show goes off on. But let's get to some news.
And one other one, just while we're on the topic, Northern Tesla said if Robotaxi becomes lucrative, he would pay his current 3 solely on Robotaxi, as he doesn't want people in his car, and then upgrade his own vehicle. So is that something you guys would consider?
Yeah, an older vehicle. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So if it's in like 3 years from now, Paul, you have your Y. Dax, 3 years from now, you have your 3. Would you just throw it on there and use the money from that to get a new Tesla?
Possibly.
We had talked about it, my wife and I, that we may actually do that and just keep the car doing that, making money for us. And once again, like Drew said, that's if this technology matures to that level in the next few years. We don't know, right? I personally think it's a little further out than that, especially being up here in the wintertime here in Canada. But I know, frankly, you think it's a little sooner than that. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I probably would consider doing that. Like I said, I'm talking to my wife, and maybe just save that 3 for when my daughter starts driving in the next 4 or 5 years.
Well, we'd have a better indication if hashtag FSD Beta Canada could happen a little quicker. Yeah.
Or you know what? It could be, getting back to that on another tangent, it could be that it was ready since last week, and now you've pissed off Elon. And now
like that guy maybe is speaking for Elon.
Yes.
Out of spite. Yeah.
All right, I gotta go.
You're not going anywhere.
Hi, Franklin.
because if this goes down, you need to run the show. Because I've already lost 1 camera and 1 mic already, and we're only 20 minutes in. And it was getting to the news. We had a bunch of news, and I had to filter through which ones I wanted to talk about. So if you guys want to talk about anything, like I mentioned earlier, just let me know, and we won't even touch this. But if you got nothing else, forever hold your whatever they say, your peace, and we'll start talking about what just came out today. Just this morning, I woke up and I opened up some stuff, all Tesla related stuff, and then I saw this: the Model Y and the Model X have recalls. Now, don't get all panicky and everything. It says here, this article is from our friend Darren at Drive Tesla Canada. It says impacting nearly 10,000 vehicles, roughly around 9,500. Majority of those are from the X, and then just a handful, just under 500 is from the Y. And if you go down here, it explains, Darren did a good job of explaining what the recalls are and everything like that. Basically, the Y has something to do with the control arm and the steering knuckle. May not have been tightened up to the proper specifications. So they only found it in a handful of vehicles. If you consider they're on their VINs now are over 70,000, and they're only calling about 100. I'm sorry, 400 or so. So it's not a big, huge concern. It's better to be err on the side of caution, right? And then the Model X, that's a little more. They say right here, approximately over 9,000 Model X's from 2016 to now. And this was done through the NHTSA down there in the States for you. Drew probably knows that company more, or that organization more than we do. It's basically our version of Transport Canada. And they did a bunch of, now the problem is I can't even pronounce this, the front help me with this, guys. Applec or something like that, or right down here, if you can see it on your screen.
You're on your own with that one, Dax.
Oh, you know what? Like I can do this. Apple does
Applique.
Applique, yes. Here
Is it French? I don't know.
It's a noun. Ornamental needlework in which pieces of fabric are sewn or struck into a larger piece to form a picture or a pattern.
Okay, I learned something new today.
Me too. Thank you, Apple.
Applique.
Darren says I had it right.
Applique.
Applique. Oh, that's the French in you, Paul.
Yes, it is. My mother's French, so.
Okay. So anyway, it's a piece of trim, or it's a piece that's near the Falcon doors. So, and has to do with a urethane thing. So, anyways, they're recalling that once again for safety. And if you think about it, 9,000 cars, and I'm not downplaying it. I'm not trying to make light of it. A recall is sometimes important, and sometimes it's done because they have to. Sometimes it's done because they are getting out in front of the problem and doing it before it gets worse and before they're ordered to. But it's one of these things that. Does anyone know to date how many X's they've sold or they've manufactured?
Oh,
I don't.
I'm sure much.
I would,
pretty high amount.
I would think in the hundreds. Right?
My Model X from 2017, I think, is a VIN in the 70,000s. Actually, I'll just pull it up right now and I'll tell you what it is from 2017.
As of April 30th, 2019, 106,689.
Oh, okay. Maybe mine's not in the 70s.
As of April what?
I'm going to pull it up.
April 30th, 2019.
So we've had a year and a half since then.
Yeah. So, I mean,
say so we're looking at under 10%. Say
59,000.
Okay,
probably around 6 or 7%.
6 or 7%, like you're saying, 6 or 7%. So, like I said, not to downplay it, but it's a good. It's neither a good or a bad thing in today's economy when it comes to recalls and stuff like that. You guys have any takes on it?
Yeah, my take on it. This one seems a little light. Either that, or I'm not understanding it. So, a piece of trim falls off. Like, what does it fall off when you're driving and hit somebody in the windshield behind you? Like, I'm having a little trouble with the severity of this one, but maybe I just don't get it.
I think because it's close to the roof, it makes for good headlines because you can make the accusation that the roof is in danger on your Model X and sell your stock now.
There you go. Exactly. There's that. And whenever you say Falcon Wing door, that always generates excitement as well. So,
true.
I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can say something if they understand it better than I do. But this seems like a pretty light recall to me. Yeah, no,
I think it is. And as you guys were discussing it there, I was reading the article. Like anyone that hasn't seen this podcast before, they know that we hardly read the full articles until we're live on it. Like we look at
speak for yourself,
headlines.
Yeah, speak for yourself, Dax. We always read them. We ask Dax.
I don't read the content.
So it says here the NSTSA notes owners may notice a noise inside the vehicle for either a short or prolonged period of time. Owners may also notice the trim coming loose and striking them and killing them in the head. Doesn't say that last part. Up until the striking and killing, everything else.
I sound like Gordon.
I just picture somebody like running behind the car saying, sir, ma'am, this piece of fabric fell off your vehicle.
Like, did anyone see that video earlier in the week where in China that Model S roof fell off?
I did see that.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. And I think it was.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but
third party.
Yeah, I want to say. Maybe. Oh, is that what it said in the article? Once again, I didn't read the article. I just watched the video.
I read them saying it was a third party repair that didn't put the roof back on correctly or something like that. But
okay.
I didn't read too much into it, but that's what I heard.
So yeah, I only saw the video that was shared of it. I didn't see any of the after follow-up information. So all I saw was a car driving along and a roof come flying off, right?
It's a convertible. It's a feature.
Instant convertible. As long as you live
Sunroof.
someplace sunny.
The Roadster's roof comes off, so you know.
Yeah, why not? It's only fair.
I saw the Model Y
Oh, it's out.
lost a glass roof at one point, but that was not third party.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was.
Is it? I thought the veracity of that was in question.
I didn't read too much into it, but I know it's one thing when you hear one off problem. If it's when it's like a chain of events that's happening that calls for, like a recall like they're doing right now. But if it's just a one-time thing, it's not something I would get overly worried about.
Here's the thing, right? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, no, it's not possible. I mean, it is possible. The 3s had a trunk problem when they first came out.
Yeah,
so,
the bumpers were falling off.
Yeah, so, I mean, I love Tesla as much as you guys, but you have to be critical of production at times, right? And and it's like you said, if it's a one-off or a couple bad in a massive batch, it's not as bad. I'm not underplaying it. I'm still saying it's bad, but it's not as big of a problem as every car coming off that is doing that. And you still have to acknowledge that they made a mistake on those couple, right?
Yeah.
That, hey, they made a mistake. Where I see a lot of times it's like, oh, no, it's this or that or whatever the excuse may be, right? It's like, oh, no, their build quality wasn't up to par on this one, right? So it is what it is, but it is totally possible. That's my stance.
Mm-hmm.
I can.
Hopefully they get it worked out and won't be a problem anymore. That's the good news with recalls most of the time, is that means they're identifying the problem and trying to fix it at the source. So, and they're not recalling more recent gen Model X's.
There's recalls that they do that are like, last year I actually called them to come fix my horn because my horn stopped, and mobile service came out, and he's like, all right, I'm here to do your recall. I'm like, how about my horn? And that wasn't on the service order at all. So, so he did a recall on my charge port, and it's funny because, well, not funny, but that day was the only that morning was the only morning I've ever had problem with my charge port in the year that I had my car. And that afternoon is when he changed it because there was all the ice that built up. So it was really cool that that they fixed it, and they actively fixed a recall on my charge port, which, again, going back to what Paul said, that's not like a massive, I mean, it is, I can't charge my car if it's frozen shut, but it's not like a massive problem, right? So
not a huge safety concern.
Yeah, so they're pretty active in fixing recalls. It's just a matter of, like, they didn't reach out to me. I kind of booked service and they did it at the same time. So maybe contact Tesla and say, hey, do I have any recalls? I don't know. I'm not sure how that process works.
There you go.
Now, this may be an industry standard. I don't know, because I'm not a huge car guy, like we spoke about earlier. But I find Tesla calls, they don't call them recalls. They call them bulletins. Is that normal?
Yeah, it's standard.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
I don't like that word recall.
Yeah, that's probably it, eh?
Negative connotation.
Let's something else.
Recall implies danger. It's just a bulletin. That's all.
It's a bulletin, yes.
Just a little news flash.
And then a year down the road, they're like, oh, you know what? Bulletin sounds too much like bullet. That's also.
It's just, this is an aside, but this is what we do. It's kind of like, so I was browsing Best Buy's site, right? And they have, this is just a quick aside, and it ties in. Okay, so they used to call them refurb, right? And I noticed that they're calling them something else now. They're calling them recertified.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
that's
instead of
right.
refurb, they call them recertified.
It's a pretty positive connotation.
Yes, so no recall is a bulletin.
It's like used. They don't. What car manufacturer calls them used cars anymore? They're called pre-owned.
Previously enjoyed.
It's all the wording, right? It's all about wording.
Well,
existing inventory.
It's new. It's new to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And Tesla used to call them CPOs, right? Certified pre-owned.
Yeah.
They dropped
certified means it's good.
Yes.
Well, it has certification, right? You get that paper, you're good to go.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I don't know if they
dirty
do,
word.
I don't know if they. I don't know, Drew, if they do this in the U.S., but like, you know, you got the housing developments, right? And it'll be on a piece of land that's totally undescript, kind of crappy actually, and they'll call it Ashton Meadows.
Oh, yeah.
Ashton Meadows.
It sounds so euphoric.
I've never seen that in the U.S.
I think that might be a Canadian thing, Paul, but I know exactly.
Okay.
I've been some places, and I almost said the B word. Anyways, moving right
It's
along.
like it's like in the
Don't
movie
get here,
Elf.
Franklin.
Well, let me get it's like the movie Elf, right?
Mhm.
Classic
I know that
Christmas
one.
movie,
Great movie.
right? And he's like, "This is the world's best cup of coffee," and like she's like, "This is the shit cup of coffee."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really took us off track there. Sorry, Dex.
No,
621 miles. I got you, Dex.
you got me. You got
Yeah.
me. Okay. No.
In other words, 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah. Now, is that just once again? That could be coincidental. That could be a whole thing that we talk about, and not even the actual headline and bury the lead and everything. But what we're talking about is Elon yesterday. Now, I don't even know. I guess he does. He probably does dozens of interviews that we probably don't even hear about. You would think we'd hear all about him, seeing Franklin's peppering him every night with a FSD Beta Canada.
I mean, I've barely
That's what he was
messaged
just
the guy.
doing right now.
But anyways, he was he's doing that right now. He's got his head down. He was in an interview. I think it was a Berlin interview, even though the girl that the interviewer, she didn't sound like she had an accent. She was British or anything. Anyways, once again, getting off on a tangent, not even talking about the article. He talked. He
It's
talked
supposed to be
about,
Berlin, yeah.
yeah, he talked about the semi. Now, should I call it semi or semi? What's the correct way to say it, guys? Because I feel like I'm saying
correct.
it wrong. I don't know.
Was it Demi Moore or is it Demi Moore? I don't know.
Tesla or Tesla?
Oh, no, yeah, sorry about that.
That debate again.
Yes. Okay. Anyways,
So-
he's saying now it's going to have a new range, an increased range. Now he hinted about this a couple months ago, but he talked about it in this interview, and he says it's going to be 1,000 kilometers, which do the conversion that works out to about 621. That's
With the payload.
with the payload. Now,
Yeah.
as soon as I heard this with a payload, I mean, I read the electric article, which is what we're featuring here, because electric was one of the first, if not the first, to bring this to our attention.
Mhm.
In the electric article, there was a link to the video. So after reading the article, I went and I listened to the 20-minute video, and it was a good video, good interview. And then with this kind of information, it was near the tail end. If you're going to watch the interview, it's near the tail end of the 20 minutes. But he goes into details talking about the efficiency and how the battery and how he could get 500 kilometers out of it, no problem. He actually called it trivial. He's like, oh,
Right.
we can do that in our
No problem.
Yeah, it's like
Easy.
yeah, it's like that. That's like. And did anyone else, when they read that, did anyone else take that as a slam to the other manufacturers that are making 300-mile EVs trucks?
Just a little bit.
That's how I.
A little bit.
But
I thought he might
yeah.
be dogpiling on, since all the headlines are saying he's richer than Bill Gates now. And I know Bill Gates said that electric semi-trucks would never be very
Yes.
viable. So I thought that was
Oh.
maybe him just kind of dogpiling. Oh, easily
Yeah.
500 kilometers.
I think it's just his vocabulary. Like, if you, not to take away his success, but if you look at his all speeches, like, he uses the same catchphrases fairly often when he's describing things. And
Yeah.
Yes.
for him, it's just, this is true. Like, just something he says.
Yeah, I love how he almost every interview. We should actually do a count for this, Franklin. In almost every interview he does or any speech he does, he has to use the word fundamental or fundamental.
Yeah. I do notice that.
Oh, it's funny. It's great. I mean, I'm not making fun of the guy, but it's just funny how he always uses that. Anyways, getting back to the article,
He's got the fundamentals down. That's why.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
fundamentally,
But like I said, his catchphrases are really good because think about it. We're here analyzing a single word on what he means, and it's trivial. Like, and that could just be like it's no different than him saying easy, right? Let's be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here analyzing it because he said that one word, right?
yeah. Well, we always analyze Elon's words.
Well,
but
LiDAR is a fool's errand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has
Orders of
sometimes
magnitude.
one-word tweets, and we
Yeah.
analyze that into the whole article.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've done whole videos on one-word tweets.
We all have. Yeah, it's so true though, right? Because it's
420.
so much into
Yep.
oh yeah, three numbers. Yeah, order of magnitude. That's what I was thinking of.
Order of magnitude, yeah.
Order of magnitude.
Does that
He
a lot,
does that
too, yep.
a lot.
Yeah.
But when I read this article, tell me if you guys thought the same thing, because we're all interested in the same thing. And let's face it. None of us here in this panel, nobody I know, at least, is ordering a semi truck anytime soon, if at all.
I'm on the fence.
Are you? The only people I know that
he doesn't need the car, but
Cybertruck isn't badass enough.
I was gonna say the only one I know that's getting one is Zach and Jesse. They're getting one, and they're gonna take everyone out for test drives and everything.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, I don't know where they're gonna put it. I hope they have a
That's my goal in life. I want to drive a Tesla semi at least once before I die. That's my.
That's
hope.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's
it.
Good.
Sounds amazing.
Well, I've seen enough people tag me in these like GoFundMes. Maybe I'll just start one of those for one of these.
Yeah.
Just getting to the issue, back to what we're here to do. No, just kidding. I've long, like you guys know, like whenever I'm on the show and this topic comes up, I've always said that Elon sandbags the range capabilities, and I bet you even my 2018 Model 3 is sandbagged. I just feel like at any moment he could say, "Here's another 5% for you people."
No, it's true. It's true. He does it every year, right? In one model or another. No,
they pull out another efficiency update out of the.
I think the reason for that is they want the battery to be prolonged life, right? And as they do testing and stuff, they're like, "Oh, we don't have to be as preservative.
Right?
We can extend. Cautious. Yeah, we don't have to be as cautious. We can push the limits further." And then they push it further, and we kind of get an update. It'd be kind of neat, and I'm kind of curious. I'm sure people still complain, but if like a toggle in your car, like extend range but reduce battery life, like longevity.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So I'm kind of curious to see how many people would actually do that. But again, you get a lot of people that would be angry, like in half the time, like, "Oh my god, my battery died. I clicked the toggle, but I didn't realize it was this." Right? So it's not the greatest idea, but
sure,
it'd be interesting.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if you guys watched the video. Kim Java, also known as Like Tesla, back. She has a YouTube channel. Anyways, their last video, her and her husband did videos. I'm sitting here saying it like you guys don't know. Everyone knows Like Tesla. Anyways, she just did a video yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, of battery efficiency and how to calibrate it. And you know what? I thought it was a really good video. And in my Facebook group, I actually posted it, and I told everyone in my 3 and my Y group, I said, you guys got to watch this, because especially this time of year, all I'm getting now for posts is, "Oh, my battery, my efficiency is going down. My battery's going down. Like, oh, like the sky is falling." Everyone's like panicking that the sky is falling. So I put this post up there. Not everyone, right? I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people. And I find it with the new owners, right? So I put this post up there with the video, and I said, watch this video, and maybe it'll explain how to calibrate it, or maybe it'll explain how your battery isn't dying. You're not losing range. It's just how the battery works and how chemistry and physics and everything works and everything. But in that video, what she talked about is how Tesla's saying now you can go down to, or Elon and/or Tesla is saying how you can go down to 5% and it won't harm the battery. You can go up to 100% and it won't harm the battery. So which I think we all knew, anyone of us that follow Tesla in depth, we all knew that there must be some range and some
headroom.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
In the battery pack, that when you go to 100, it's not a true 100%. So you're not going to kill the battery pack. And when you go down to 0, even when you go down to 0, it's still not 0. There's still something left in there. So Tesla's done so much, and I think out of all the EV car manufacturers, Tesla's by far the best in terms of managing the battery. And I've said it to people before, and I'll say it again, like, don't worry about the battery. Don't worry about killing or harming your battery. The BMS in there does an awesome job, and its number one job is to protect the battery. So no matter what you do, it's programmed to, be idiot proof. I hate to say
save you from yourself, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, from people like me that like may kill the battery. Yeah. So
and just look at old reviews of older Teslas and how they've aged and how little degradation there can be on 6-7-year-old Model S's, and people are still driving them around. I still see them all the time. Some of the OGs, like I saw a couple of the green Model S's on my last
Oh,
road trip.
yeah?
Still driving around. People are using them, and they wouldn't be using them if the battery was fried completely. So, and I think the Model 3s are going to age even better.
Yeah.
I've legitimately had a conversation with someone. I was actually in a dealership lot and they had a used X, pre-owned X, and I was
Certified.
I was just talking to someone there who's looking at a car, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I wouldn't buy that. The minute it hits 0, you can never charge it up again. It's just the battery's gone, so you don't get to drive your car anymore." And I was just like,
Well,
why? And I explained to him how it works, and he's like, "Oh no, my neighbor bought one, and he said he can't charge it up anymore. You have to check your warranty. Your warranty doesn't cover that. Your car's never going to work again." And I was like, "Okay, that's enough."
There's so many myths out there about EVs. Yeah,
And
maybe he was talking about
charging.
Yeah. Maybe he's talking about a Nissan Leaf because they've had some bad.
Yeah, that is true.
And I'm not knocking the Leaf.
I've heard of the. I think Dan from What's Inside had one of the original Roadsters, and he said that if that went down to 0, it wouldn't be able to turn on again. But they don't even make those anymore, so it's kind of a different discussion.
Anyways, let me just ask you guys. Once again, we went from the semi truck and their range talking about Nissan Leafs and then battery packs. It's amazing. It's like if someone could roadmap our conversations, it would be funny.
Welcome to the
branching
podcast.
off.
How you enjoying your stay?
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you, did anyone that when they saw that headline or read that article or even listened to the interview by Elon when he's talking about the semi truck, and like one of you guys, I forget who it was, pointed out that is with payload. These range estimates and capacities are with payload, like almost a full payload. Did anyone else think, anyone else relate that to the Cybertruck and say, oh, does that mean it may work for the Cybertruck the same way? Because I did. Maybe I'm the only fool that thought, you know what? If these are the numbers they're giving for the semi, could they be also like the numbers that they were giving for the Cybertruck with payload?
I definitely think Cybertruck range is going to far surpass what they promised when they unveiled it, just because same with the Model Y event, same with the Model 3 event. They always give a much lower number than what it actually achieves when they launch it. My only guess as to why they're probably describing the semi range with a payload is because it's like the whole purpose of the semi. There's not a lot of people driving around semis with no payload. But there's probably going to be a decent number of people that drive around the Cybertruck without a payload or anything towing or in the bed. So I don't think maybe for that same reason they would be advertising the range with a payload. But knowing Tesla and how I think the initial Model Y dual motor, when they unveiled it, they said it would have a range of 280. Now here we are just a year later and it's 326. So if that's anywhere similar to the Cybertruck, then I think you could expect 340, 350 for the dual motor and maybe 550 for the tri-motor. And maybe it'll be closer to 500 if you load some stuff in the back. So in a way, you're kind of right.
Yeah. Now, how much did you say for the dual motor, you think?
Maybe 340, 350.
Awesome.
I could say.
I like the way you're thinking, buddy, because that's what I'm hoping for.
Model Y is the most recent one, right? That was like the quickest unveil to delivery, and that's the most recent product they've launched. And now it sounds like, if we're hearing Elon correctly, that the Cybertruck should be the next major launch. Semi might be somewhere in there, but
it's interesting because you brought up a good point, right? I think they're the only company I can think of that actually shows off a product and then says, "Okay, we're ready to release it. We're going to make this way better than when we showed it off." Because how many products have you bought or ordered or seen in a reveal where it's like, oh my God, that looks so cool. And then you show up and it's like missing half the features.
Right.
Or it's nowhere close to
what I like.
Yeah, it's not even close to what you put your money on. Or if you're lucky, it's pretty close, but it's missing that one thing where it's like, oh man, they showed that. That would have been so cool. I think Tesla's like the only thing I can think of where it's like, I just put money down on a Cybertruck and I know in 3 years, 4 years, however long it takes, FSD Beta Canada, however long it takes, you're going to get something way better than what you put your money on, right? And I know for us, I joke around, the beta takes a while, the trucks are going to take a while. So I'm also expecting ours to be even slightly better, especially with the 3 refresh. I still think the time we get it, we're going to see a iteration of the Cybertruck improved from when you guys get it. So
yeah, those specs they gave on stage are worst case scenario, I think.
Yeah, it's just really fascinating to me that you're actually going to get something better.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
it's rare.
And you guys were talking about range boost and how they, what they released, what they actually come out with later. And you're talking about, Paul was saying how, they've got more in the tank, so to speak, pardon the pun. Well, Tesla, they just did the same thing with the S again. And didn't they just do it a few months ago with the
this
S
is
when
like
they
the third jump this year, I think.
Yeah, and it's like amazing. They're finding now, whether it's hardware or software efficiencies, power, they don't get into details. At least I don't think they have in the last couple ones. But anyways, now they're saying the Model S is going to have a range of 409 miles, which works out to 658 kilometers. Can you imagine that, guys?
Only 11 miles to go.
Yeah, only 11 miles to go. Because that's definitely what they're aiming for.
420.
If they had the price there and the range there, it'd be beautiful.
Yeah. Now,
but I think in this article, though, that they explain it exactly as I perceive it, right? Which is, take a look at Lucid Motor or any other competitor that comes out and says we're going to have a range of 5 kilometers more than the Tesla.
Right.
Give it a week. Elon's like, oh, it's been retested.
They are so competitive. They may not make it seem like that when they talk about how open source patent and everything, but at the same time, if someone comes up near their range, they have to top them. They have to.
Right.
I don't think the Model S range was an accident.
No.
And that's the other thing. I see a lot of people hating on other EVs. It helps us out tremendously because of that competitive nature.
Yeah.
We're going to benefit so much, especially as more people get into it, right? We're going to start seeing like battery range and like we're the ones who benefit ultimately, right? So
I think Elon was quoted for saying, if another EV company comes along and can build a better EV than us for cheaper and Tesla goes out of business, I think that's a good thing because that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
They want everybody to move on. So he's like, you got to beat us. Go for it.
How many other CEOs of big companies can you see that would ever say something like that and still have their job in the morning?
Trying to think.
Yeah, I know. It's like nobody. And you know what? Some people could say, "Oh, he's just saying that," but I think he truly believes it because it's his whole mission statement, right?
He thought Tesla was going to die. I mean, and he's got enough on his plate with SpaceX. I think if someone came along and put Tesla out of business, it wouldn't ruin his life. He would probably just have more time for Starship.
Yeah. Well, there was an article I read last week. And you know what I mean when I say I read the headline that talked about how Elon doesn't want to sell you cars anymore. Like this is just a stepping stone. Tesla selling cars is only a stepping stone for him to make money so he can get to Mars.
So because that's where he came from.
That's what I think.
He wants to go. He wants to
go
home.
back home. Yeah. It's like, he's ET. Franklin, never mind. You don't even know what ET is.
Well, actually,
I think Drew's younger than you, but we're not going to get into age and everything. We always make fun of Franklin because he's so young. But I know
they can make fun of me.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think you may be a little younger.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yes. What don't you know, Franklin?
I don't know how old Drew is, so I'm not going to say one way or the other.
He's younger than you. Let's just say we're not going to get into details. Like
it's
I said, we don't want to get personal stuff. If you want his,
you're past the personal information already.
Yeah, you already got his SIN number, right?
Yeah, I got it written down.
You're set. Well, I think the semi is exciting. I'm not like even going to buy one, but I just can't wait to see the semi come out.
Oh yeah, I think it's exciting only for the fact that it's another industry that they're gonna completely upset. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Disrupt. Sorry, not upset. Disrupt.
And the Model S is just getting better every day. I hope the Plaid one gets a little updated interior and exterior.
Yeah, I agree. I still
think the Plaid, at its value, makes the Roadster look bad.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah. Well,
I won't
can
disagree.
you imagine what the Roadster is going to be like when we were talking earlier about how they sandbag numbers and whatever they're
Barely legal.
Yeah, it's good. Like if they're saying, if they said,
what channel is this?
Has it been 3 years now? Has it been 3 years since the unveiling?
Yeah, they said 2020
at least
for the Roadster.
Yeah, and they said 1.9 seconds, 0 to 60,
and that's the base model now.
And that's the base. So can you imagine what it truly is going to be when in 2025 it's released?
I think the range will exceed 700 miles, and I think the 0 to 60 will be around 1.5.
Yeah, illegal.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
man. That's crazy.
It will be illegal in 30 states.
I could see them geo-fencing it, like, because the car obviously has a GPS in it. It could like lock if it knows you're on a public street and be like, okay, you can't use the cold gas thrusters now, but if you're on a closed track and they can tell by your location you're on a track, okay, now you can use the cannons.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So simply do that, right?
It would be a pretty simple line of code. They could just be like, no, don't use your air cannons when you're at a stop and go traffic.
They know where the car is, wherever it is. They can adjust and the Model S and the X. They adjust the suspension, so they could do it. They could easily do it. Yeah, that might be a thing they may have to do because they may make it so fast.
But you're right, Franklin, about you're still now able to achieve a 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, but you can seat 5 and still have a hatchback for $60,000 less. That's
I feel
makes
like
the Roadster less enticing unless they come forward with some new specs on the Roadster that just blow everything else out of the water. My guess is the range is going to be better than what they said in 2017.
Yeah, because they said it in 2017, but they weren't nowhere near production. And I feel like with the battery tech they're aiming towards, I wouldn't be shocked if they came up with a stupidly high number. I'm not going to say double, but you know what I mean.
Oh, dang. That'd be funny.
Yeah, it would be, right? Because I feel like they have to do something to make the difference bigger.
I think it'll be the absurd range and the SpaceX package is my guess.
Yeah.
That's what's going to set it aside from the Plaid Model S.
And maybe they'll drop the price so much that it'll, like, I don't know. Who knows?
Hopefully they increase security on it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
hopefully,
good segue.
Good segue, Franklin, once again. Thanks for doing that. But did you guys read this article? Moving on to our last one from Electric.
I saw the headline. I'm not sure how they did it. What did they do?
Well, there's a video that went along with it. I watched the video, and it was pretty well produced. Anyways, I don't know if this guy in the video, this kid, he looks very, very young, that actually does it, is the actual, what's the guy's name again? I read it in the article.
Hacker Man.
Leonard Wouwerts. I may be butchering that. I apologize. Security researcher at Belgium University, KU Leuven. They put together some. Now we know it happens here in North America, but it's a lot more prevalent in Europe, where they do this relay attack using the key fob and stuff like that. Thank God, the Model 3, even though it has the key fob you can buy separately, it doesn't really need it. So maybe it can't be done with the 3. Hopefully, maybe it can't. But maybe that's why they're going after S's and X's. Maybe they're all going after S's and X's because of their value.
Just a richer demographic.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
luxury.
If you get the time to actually watch the video, it's very well produced, but it's kind of funny in a way because it shows it. The video basically is showing this person hacking this family's Model X and driving away with it, right?
Yeah.
And it shows him along the way, typing commands in. And the funny thing there is he's like looking around, typing in commands. He types in "open Falcon Wing doors," right? And the Falcon Wing doors open up. And like I tell you, if I'm going to steal a Model X, the last thing I'm going to do is open the Falcon Wing doors.
I know. 10 feet in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Look at me.
I'm stealing your car. No, it's true. But I know what you're saying, Paul. But obviously that video was to demonstrate.
I'm just
all the control that they have over the car.
That is funny.
And then at the end of it, in the video,
goes into the dance mode.
Yeah, with airing music. But at the end of it, you have to actually plug something into the interface, into the what's it called again? What's the port?
MCU.
Yeah, so that port, the com port, whatever. He had to actually plug in the laptop in there to actually start the car and drive away. Everything else they can get in the car from just cloning the key fob and everything, but to actually drive away. So anyways, at the end of the day, this guy is a white, sorry, At the end of the day, this guy is a white hacker, and he brought it to Tesla's attention back months ago, probably I think in the summer, and Tesla's just gotten around to this. I guess is why they're releasing it now, to actually patching this problem. So, are the cars completely impervious to any kind of hacking? No. We know as tech nerds, I guess you could say, or however you want to describe yourself, and I apologize if I've insulted you by calling you a nerd to the guys in the panel, but tech enthusiasts, we know that if there's a way, if there's a will, there's a way to hack something. So they're going to have to get better with it, and I'm glad that this was brought to their attention and they fixed it. But do you guys ever think, I'll ask you guys, give me your opinion on the video or the article itself, but what I want to know from you guys, do you guys ever think that there'll ever be a time where the cars are unhackable and totally safe for...
No, not possible.
No.
Yeah. The bad actors are always one step ahead, but...
So in this case, for what the person did, it's very easy for Tesla to patch, fortunately, because it's just adjusting the signature of the updates with the fob. Yeah. So it's not a super hard fix. But in general, nothing is hack proof. So I'm going to get a lot of hate because I'm going to use this as the example. A lot of people used to say Mac is unhackable, no viruses, no whatever. The reason why is they had such a small user base.
Yeah.
We lost his audio, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I was thinking
you say something bad about Apple, that's it. You're out of the podcast.
The reason I unmuted you because I didn't want to.
So for the longest time, like a lot of people said that, and Windows was the target because if you think about it, they had 98% user base. So you're going to go target the people with the largest percentage. As Mac starts growing in popularity, you notice that there's been more things coming out for it in terms of viruses and things like that. And exploits as it gets more popular. And I'm going to tie this all around. Linux was my operating system of choice, and I love it. However, people are like, oh my God, it's so secure. Granted, that one's like live patches that people submit, but it's only secure because it has like a 0.0001 install base where people won't care, right? So kind of going back to what I was saying, as Tesla gets more popular, and not just Tesla, but any automaker that becomes more of a computer on wheels.
They're very tech-oriented too.
Yeah, anything that's a computer on wheels, as those become more popular, you're going to start seeing more of these. They might not all be white hat people like this. You're going to get some that have ill intention, and it's just going to happen. There's not much you can do. If you think banks spend tons of money to try to secure their money, it happens all the time, right? So nothing is truly secure. That's what I'm going to end it off with. Doesn't matter what system it is. It's like your house. You can add as many security measures as possible. If someone wants to break in, if there's enough will, there's a way.
I agree.
And cybersecurity is a moving target.
Cybersecurity is actually a real struggle because if you're the person doing security, like you're someone at Tesla, right? And your whole job is to make sure their system's secure. If there's no reports coming out, how do they know you're doing a good job? Right? If there is reports coming out, that means you're doing a bad job. So
that's why they have like hackathons, where they
for sure
they encourage people to try to find vulnerabilities so that they can know where to patch it. But yeah, it really comes down to like how likely is someone going to have access to the hardware and the know-how to hack this vehicle. It's not a matter of never; it's a matter of how often. And I mean, at a certain point, the common question I would get, because there's a lot of people in my social circle that don't have Teslas, is just like, is this less secure? Is this a downgrade? To which I would say no, because you reach a point where the likelihood of someone being able to target your vehicle and gain access to it and then plug into the right port and go, the likelihood of that happening is probably a lot less than someone just willing to break a window and hotwire or steal whatever's inside.
You bring up a good point, right? It's likelihood. If your traditional car gets stolen, the likelihood of it returning is a lot less than a Tesla. Last time I saw it, and this was when they had 500,000 cars produced, there's only 3 that have ever been stolen and not returned.
I don't want my car back if it's been stolen. I'm telling you that right now. I want my car
I
back.
need a new one.
A, I want a new one, and B, I don't know what that person has done in my
Dax,
car.
where do you leave your key card?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, from a security perspective, it is a benefit as a Tesla because it's a lot harder to steal and actually take. Like, you're going to get it back. But to say it's hack free is, I mean, also
Yeah. I think if you look at back in the day, right, the level of education required to use a Slim Jim to get into a vehicle is a lot less than to do what was demonstrated in this video. So the universe of people who can do this are there's probably none of them hanging out on your street.
Very
Right?
low chance of that. Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Well, the only reason I asked is because I think society, now that these cars are becoming autonomous and self-driving and stuff like that, society is going to dictate or expect that these software computers on wheels are secure. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want it being hacked while you're doing 120 down the highway kilometers or even miles.
Sure.
Down the highway, you don't want it being hacked and some 15-year-old from their mother's basement is having fun driving your car from guardrail to guardrail. You know what I mean?
Another reason full self-driving is done locally, not reliant on a server.
Exactly. Okay, that is it for news, guys. Do you have anything you want to talk about newsworthy that I might have missed?
There's one thing very quick. I didn't see a lot of people cover it, and maybe I just missed
FSD Canada, I'm gonna
YouTube it. Someone asked Elon, any chance Tesla owners can adjust Sentry mode sensitivity, and he said sure.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, very good.
That was
One more
on
tweet.
That was on November 19th, by the way. Which, again, I haven't seen it pop up a lot in my news feeds from like article writers and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Neat.
Now,
Yeah, I like that.
will that maybe be in a version 11? Who knows? Is it even? And that's a whole separate debate whether it could be called version 11.
Listen,
but
just be happy I gave you that. I don't know when it's going to come out.
Yeah. Hey, did anyone else hear the rumor? Well, maybe I even shouldn't. Okay, I'll say it. I don't care. Did anyone hear the rumor that version 11 may get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto?
I started that rumor.
Sorry?
Oh, you did?
I started that rumor.
Okay, well, it's. I heard it from I don't have a source. I shouldn't call it a source, but I heard that
sense to me.
Well, it would make sense, but
next to Spotify, right? Like, especially like Spotify started out in Europe, right? And they're always very big in Europe. It's not to say they're not big in North America. They are, but I believe Apple Music is actually bigger than Spotify in North America. So correct me if I'm wrong there, but last time I looked at these stats,
sounds right.
I think that's what
subscribers. I don't know about
paid subscribers. Yeah,
freemium, but yeah,
so,
they're pretty close.
So it makes sense, right? Like, you know, you've got a lot of people out there that don't use Spotify.
I've always found it incredibly awkward at the lack of collaboration between Tesla and Apple, because I feel like both companies have such similar design styles with UI and similar ideologies, and there's clearly a huge overlap. I mean, 3 out of the 10 Tesla stores I visited are right across from an Apple store. They like put them next to each other, and clearly there's a lot of Apple fans that are also Tesla fans. And maybe it's because of Project Titan, and Elon at one interview seemed to be pretty convinced that Apple was going to go to compete with them. And I know that Apple hired a lot of ex-Tesla employees and that kind of thing. So maybe there's some bad blood between the two companies, but I still think it's incredibly awkward that the two companies haven't worked together on much other than like the Tesla app on iOS. Other than that, there's like no collective working together on something, whether it be a CarPlay mode or supporting Apple Maps instead of Google Maps. I know a few people that want that change, and it's bizarre because they seem so similar. And maybe it's because Apple tried to buy them out. they wanted Elon gone, so that makes it kind of an awkward relationship. But I wish they would do something like that.
Yeah. I wish that too. Yeah,
Me too.
I mean, it benefits the consumer at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about competition earlier. Franklin brought up all the different competition, how it benefits us in the long run, and that's at the end of that. exactly it at the end of the day. So hopefully they do. Hopefully that rumor is true. Hopefully it'll be in version 11. But I'm not holding my breath, but it'd be a nice, happy surprise.
Yes.
Definitely, for sure.
Franklin, did you see any questions throughout the in the chat throughout the podcast?
I have not seen any.
I've got a couple here. Okay, I've got a couple. They're really quick. We can go through, and you guys can just give your opinions about it or your answers if you have any. If not, we'll just move on because we're going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes if we can. The first question is from a person named Ash Dutt. The theoretical question: if I buy FSD for, and I think we know the answer to this, but it was a question, so I figured I'd get it answered. Let me start over. If I buy FSD as an owner of a Model 3 and later I sell this car and get a Y, will I be able to transfer, quote unquote, the FSD to them? Let me finish the question.
I just went through that. No.
Okay, Ash, there's your answer. Moving on. These guys will let me finish.
I'm picking up my mod. Go ahead.
The last portion of the question, which I think Ash might be confused on, is saying, how can I monetize the purchase of FSD when it's non-transferable to the new owner? Is that? I believe it is transferable if you sell it used with FSD. That the next owner will get FSD. It sticks with the car, right?
Yes. Yeah. I guess if not, then how can one monetize one? Well, Tesla.
So the answer's in the question.
Yeah, I think the answer is he or she answered their own question. Yeah.
And the other answer is robotaxi. That's how you monetize FSD.
Yes.
Yeah. But here's the bottom line. I pick up our new Model Y on this Saturday. So super exciting.
Hey,
yeah, super exciting.
congrats.
Yeah, thanks. So, and then we traded in our Model 3, and I can tell you absolutely we did not get the value for FSD. So it seems like it's got a very high street price, FSD does, and a very low resale price. So that's the current facts based on my experience.
That's the highway robbery of it all.
If FSD was tied to the account, it would be a very different situation, and I think people wouldn't be as angry. People wouldn't be as mad if they were like, "Oh, I own it for life with any Tesla I buy." That would be a very different software package. But if it was transferable, I mean, I've talked about on my podcast a few times. I wish even if you don't own a Tesla, you could buy FSD to redeem to a vehicle in the future. And I don't really see how Tesla loses there. It's like a line of code on your account that just says, okay, they can redeem it at some point, and they get a free interest-free loan. I put a down payment on something I don't own, and they're just like, okay, we'll make sure to activate that whenever you do get the car. Because if that was an option, I would have bought it a long time ago. Just been like, I just want to know I have it, and then whenever the car that makes sense for me comes out, I can redeem it to that vehicle. But they are probably smarter than me about this. So
no, it is a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Moving on to question number 2. Let me get rid of this one. This one is from a person named. I lost it there. Let me get that again. Charles. Charles was the person. Anyways, did I? I completely
warm up your car. I'm
you
looking
deleted
at the
Charles.
I apologize. I didn't delete Charles. I deleted that. Okay, let me try that once more. Technical difficulties. This is my first day, guys. Okay, here's Charles. When your car is charging or charge overnight, I think they mean charging overnight, and now it's morning, and you want to warm up your car before hopping in, does it drain the battery or does it automatically keep charging to maintain the percentage level that you intended it to have?
I think I know the answer, but I'm no Tesla owner, so I probably shouldn't say I know.
No. What do you think? I think your answer is going to be right.
From hearing what people say about the user manual, I believe it does neither. It keeps the battery at the same charge, and then it heats the car from the power from the plug.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yep, that's right. The only time it would differ, from what I understand, and I've experienced it a couple times, is if you're just on level 1 charging on like 110 charge, it doesn't, and you're trying to warm it. Say it's wintertime, and you're trying to kick in that heater and warm up the car. It's not powerful enough to just do it from shore power. It'll actually have to take some from the pack. and I've experienced that myself up north and stuff like that. So, but other than that, if you're on a level 2 charger, like a standard level 2 240 or a 220, it'll take it from the now. Here's the thing: if it's still charging at the time, and it's still charging the pack, it's not going to charge as fast because it has to share the power.
Right.
But if
so it'll only pull from the house if it's the battery's reached the percentage you set it to.
Exactly. Like if it's 80% and it's 6 o'clock in the morning and it's already at 80% since 5 a.m., it'll maintain it at 80%. Other than just fan and drain, that may go down itself, but it'll just use the shore power, the house power, just to heat up the interior.
That's smart.
Yeah,
that's better for them to do it like that. Yeah.
Franklin, any input on that, or are you?
No, I'm good with what you guys. Yeah.
That's good. No disagreements.
Yeah, no disagreements.
Not this time.
No, not like the beginning of the podcast.
Okay. Now, this is the time of the show where we just end off quickly by talking. If you have any personal Tesla related, it's not. I don't want personal experiences like you had a fight with your wife or anything like that. We don't need to air those.
I had a fight with my wife last night. No, I'm kidding.
Sit down in my chair.
I had one this morning.
Yeah. Oh no. No. Was it Tesla related, Paul? Because then it counts.
Actually, it was. We were arguing about the pickup.
I think there's a lot of marriage
home,
arguments about Tesla.
Oh, damn right there is. Does your wife hate the Cybertruck as much as my wife hates to look at it?
My wife hates the Cybertruck.
Oh,
mine too.
So does my wife. My wife, when I was in California and I sent her a picture of it last year around this time, she said, that thing is not coming in our driveway.
Yeah.
She's warmed up a little bit since then, but
mine
she
too.
still doesn't like it.
Yeah. I just get the eye roll now.
Yeah.
So,
I've gotten up to an eye roll.
Yeah. But it's like anything else. I said to her, when we finally do get it, you're gonna complain about this and everything, but I'll give you 1 month. 1 month, you'll love the truck, and you will, because she's like, it's even gone to the point where she went from it's not being in my driveway that I'm not gonna ride in it. I'm like, really? You're not gonna ride in it?
I don't want to be seen in it.
Yeah, exactly. But I told her I'd give her a month and she'll change her tune. What is that? Is that the periodic table?
No, hold on. I got my story ready.
Okay. Well, let's start with your story then, seeing you have it all queued up.
All right.
Yeah, he's ready.
So here's my story, okay?
Oh, and if you don't have a story, Paul or Drew, don't feel any pressure.
Okay,
I got one. I'm good.
So here's my story. November 25th, World of Science put out the origins of elements, and they tweeted this periodic table, right? Looks nice.
Right.
Okay. Then Elon Musk said, if you ever wondered where we came from, and that was his response. I said, and
that's great.
The man is about to answer the burning question of humanity. And you ask about LSD.
Come on, that's
beautiful.
Good, right?
When was this?
That deserves a like.
Just now.
That's pretty awesome.
I gotta find the like.
Yeah. So that's my story for the week.
Well done.
Tune in next week. All right.
Okay.
I see
it.
I participated in the whole podcast, by the way, while creating the periodic table.
Is that a record?
Well done.
Okay, Drew, you got something for us?
Yeah, just last week we got back from an anniversary trip, and while I was driving around picking up some lunch, a DeLorean parked right next to me.
Nice.
And the guy got out of it with the door, and he said, "Have the nukes gone off yet?" No, just kidding. But it got me really interested because I'd never seen one in person before of the stainless steel, which I talked about earlier. The Cybertruck has changed what I want in a car fundamentally by an order of magnitude. And
so
you want the toaster?
Yeah.
How was it in person? Like,
it's a little smaller than you'd think. It's very low to the ground, and I will admit, while the Falcon doors are very intricate and complicated, I think they're a lot more simple on the DeLorean because they're not motorized. They just kind of spring up. which I love. And just seeing a guy get out of that car, I was just like, if it was electric and supercharging capable, that would be perfect. Like I would love like that. That's kind of what my dream of the 25K Tesla would be. If they could, $25,000, but it's like a cyber sedan. I don't care if it looks like a doorstop. I don't really care about the outside look. I want it to look weird. That's fine. As long as it's cheap and has the iron phosphate batteries with decent range.
Awesome.
That was what kind of flipped the switch in my head. I'm like, I don't want to buy a car with paint, because I'm seeing all these people talk about paint chips or talk about having to wrap it to preserve the paint, and you're worried about, and you know, my old car's paint is chipping. I'm like, why do we keep painting cars? This is stupid. We're going to drive them around. They're going to get bugs all over them. They're going to get rocks thrown at them. Let's just use the most durable, you know, material that will actually look good as it ages, like the Cybertruck does. So my dream Tesla is basically the cheapest Tesla that doesn't have paint. That's my goal.
On a positive side, and real quick, we've talked about it at length. Dax, Paul, and myself all have very early builds of Model 3s, or at least we did. Paul's getting rid of his. We've not experienced paint problem.
Well, that's good.
And we live in like a bad climate, and yeah, so for as much negative there are positive cases, positive experiences. We live in bad climates. Snow, ice, etc. And
you make it sound like we live in Mogadishu or something.
I gotta get going soon. My pet penguin is gotta attend to. So
speaking of having to go soon, I know you're on a
1 minute budget here, Paul. Quick, yes, what's your story?
Do you have a story, Paul?
I could be late 2 minutes. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, well, my story was the Model Y, but I do want to mention something about what Drew was saying. So if that DeLorean had been converted to an EV, then it would have been kind of like your Marty McFly would have come out and you would have said, "You made an EV out of a DeLorean?"
Yeah,
that would have been pretty cool.
Wonderful.
I'm surprised it hasn't been, or maybe it has been. Has it been done yet? A DeLorean converted?
I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure someone's done.
Someone's thought of it. I'm sure the range isn't great, but it's been done. I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's why I say supercharging capable.
Yeah. No,
the whole 10 kilometers. Way to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note,
this is good that we're ending off soon because.
Dax, do you have a story for us? He's frozen.
Dax?
Yeah.
All right. Well, since he's frozen, we don't need to hear his story. We're going to end off the podcast.
Oh, he's back.
Welcome back, Dax. Welcome back.
We already closed it.
No,
We're off the air.
I can tell when my wife is started back up working. She's finished picking up the kids because that's when it starts freezing again. For the last hour, it was okay. Yeah. Did you guys freeze too, or it was just me?
No, I think it was just you.
Yeah, don't play games, guys.
We'll all have our heaters on.
Freeze.
We have our heaters on. There you go. Like Franklin was alluding to, Drew, we all have, the three of us have early build Model 3s. So with the early Model 3s comes a very unique thing for the glass roof on top. It has that orangey red.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
When we rented a Model 3 on Turo, it had that old glass. Yeah. It's so
that's
cool.
how you can tell. And it's funny because everyone that I know that has it, including myself, I'm not gonna lie, we love it. Like it's something to say that, oh, we're one of the OGs, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I like it too.
Term.
I love it. It's a cool look.
It's cool. Long story short, my back glass a couple months ago got a chip in it, and as the weather started getting colder and colder in the last couple months, that chip grew into a crack, and it grew and it grew, and it went completely one end to the other. So I had to get it replaced for safety. So it's in the shop right now. Actually, as we were having a podcast, they called me on the phone saying it's ready. So it's funny. I got a phone call, and I know that Tesla's moved over since 2019 to a new glass where it doesn't have that orange tint anymore to it. It's just
Ron's
boring.
Throw a ball at it. Yeah.
Hopefully that again, but yeah. So, but the funny thing is, so the body shop calls me up yesterday. And the the lady on the phone, she was like, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with my car, right? She's like very timid, very like,
Oh no.
she's almost scared to tell me something. I could hear it in her voice, and she's like, everything's coming along well. We've got your glass in, and she's just prolonging the whole conversation, and like, it's something wrong. She's like, no, but I just wanted to let you know your glass had the orange tint before. And I'm like, is this where she's going with it? And I didn't say it. I said it in my head. And she goes, well, I don't know if you know or if it's okay with you, but
he's cutting off you guys, right?
Can you hear me?
Franklin, why don't you finish the story?
Well, you know what?
So,
can you hear me now?
So here's so she basically called him and she said, hey, are you like, she was worried that he didn't know that he'd lose the tint. And he already knew that. So he's like, oh, don't worry about it. I know already, I'm going to lose the tint.
Dang it.
It was a great story. When Dax went to pick up his car, she offered to give him cookies. So we're waiting for the pictures of that to be posted on Twitter.
Gotcha.
So that's a loosely interpretation. He's frozen. His mic's not working. So we're going to have to go with what I'm saying.
I'm kidding. I wasn't.
We don't have much of a choice.
I was pretending to be frozen. I wasn't frozen.
Okay.
Hey, we have
I'm glad you went
We have a quick question if you guys want to attempt to answer it. Any idea the adoption rate for FSD in Canada specifically? Most owners.
I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry. I'm late for a meeting.
Bye-bye,
Nice
Paul.
to meet you.
Okay.
Take care.
Nice to meet you too. Cheers.
Have a good day.
Bye. How do I end this thing? Okay, no.
So, any idea an adoption rate for FSD?
In Canada.
I don't know if well, even if it's not Canada, I don't think there's any way of knowing. Those are Tesla. Tesla's never shared that, right?
No, I don't think so. I think they've just demonstrated that they were hoping to give it to everybody in North America by the end of the year, but it would depend heavily on the safety of it and how people were handling it, which makes sense.
I think he meant more along the lines of how many people are buying FSD versus not.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Adoption rate is for FSD. I think I read a study someone did. They did like a sample of a few thousand Tesla owners, and I remember thinking the percentage was a bit higher than you'd think. It was close to like 40% of Tesla owners had purchased full self-driving, which most would assume wouldn't be that high because the price keeps going up, but a lot of people are willing to buy it. So
he said it's really no enthusiasts, right, that have it, which I can see, right?
For sure.
So just want to add that in there. We have that question.
But that's a sample. We don't know the official number.
No, we have no idea. It can be higher, it can be lower. It's just kind of throw a dart at the board, and whatever number it lands on, that's the percentage we'll go with.
You'd think it might be higher than you'd expect because most people who buy a Tesla probably do believe in the FSD stuff. You'd think like that they'd find that achievable and something they could actually benefit from. Whereas if there's people who don't believe in FSD or don't think it will ever be functional, why are they buying a Tesla?
See, and that's
one of the main selling points.
That's a good point, but I also see the other end of the spectrum where people are stretching their budgets as much as possible to be able to afford one, where they can't afford to add FSD above and beyond the price. And I know quite a few in that boat. And do you think they're stretching their budgets for threes? No, I even know some people stretch their budgets for an S and an X, where they're like, okay, we want to get this because it has more seating room, or we want to get this because of the more of the status symbol, but they can't afford to add FSD because they're already at their budget, right? So I guess you have two ends of the spectrum: people who believe in it and people who just really can't go any higher.
And I think they get a influx in purchases right before they increase it.
Oh, they do, yeah. It was that scare tactic of it going up to 10.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we've covered everything. We answered all the questions.
Perfect. Well, can you hear me still?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to take this time because of the connection and because it's almost an hour and a half long to thank Drew for coming out on the show.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
I know you're a busy guy, but if we can do this again in the future, I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. Like you said,
I did.
I'd
love to.
Yeah, where could people find you?
So my little name right here is the brand name I came up with, just called Tailosive. So you can look that up and you'll find all my stuff on YouTube, on Twitter, on Google. You get all the answers. So I don't have a Tesla, just remember that. But I do like talking about them, and I cover the news and tech channel, and I have a vlogging channel. I do all the things. So hit me up.
Without having a Tesla, you are the one person I know that doesn't own a Tesla that knows so much about them, is so knowledgeable. So whether you have a Tesla or not, buddy, you're very knowledgeable.
Well, thank you. I don't think Stephen Mark Ryan doesn't have one either.
No.
I want to definitely, hopefully, have you back on the podcast in the future, because even without a Tesla, you're like a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
Stealing Dax's line here.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Franklin. Is he not the first person on the podcast non-owner? Maybe. Anyways.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Dang it.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because, like I said, it's remarkable how knowledgeable you are with the.
Well, I've been very I've been very close a few times, so I've done a lot of the research, and I know all the ins and outs of what would be necessary. And but
a referral code, right? Is that the research you've done?
just the charging stuff, and the like with the heating up the car and how to charge it at home, and the cost and the taxes and the destined dock fee. And so I read up about it a lot, but yeah, I just hard to justify at this point. I'm driving less than 5 miles a day, but I'm also in no hurry, so I don't mind waiting for the 4680 cells as soon as those are out. And in
I'm gonna give you, before we get off, I'm gonna give you a suggestion, and maybe someone else out there listening will take my suggestion. I gave it to Dax, and he did it. Take $100 and put a pre-order on a Cybertruck and lock in FSD. Put it on the one you want and lock in FSD. And 2 years from now, if the Cybertruck comes out and you're like super excited and you want to do it, you have your order ready to go, you locked in your FSD price, you save some money.
Mm-hmm.
Or you say, okay, well, I don't really want it. You get back your $100. It's
there you go.
At least here. So it's not really a lose, like there's no real downside other than being out $100 for a couple of years, and you get to lock in your price. So that's my suggestion. You don't have to take it, obviously, but
well, thank you. I'll consider that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm not a Tesla salesperson.
No, I
do own shares.
I'm a Tesla salesperson.
So
Franklin,
I would tell a lot of people to do this.
So real quick before they find me, Paul, who had to leave, you can find him anywhere. Tesla Canuck on YouTube, Tesla Canuck on Twitter, Instagram. He doesn't use Facebook. Myself, you can find me on Twitter, mfrunker. Just mostly spam nowadays of FSD Beta Canada. For some reason, people still follow me. And on YouTube, Mother Frunker. And Dax, where can people find you? They can find me, since Dax mic's muted or messed up, they can find him here on this channel as you're watching
where we are.
Or wherever you're listening. Go to YouTube, Dax M. You can find me on Twitter, Tesla Talks. You can find me on Facebook, me. You can find Dax on Facebook. He has a bunch of different communities. Just type Tesla, pick a model, and probably you're going to join his group. So
there you go.
All right.
Okay, don't go anywhere. We're going to go off the air, but don't go anywhere. I just want to talk to you one quick second, Drew, before you go.
Sure.
All right. Thanks for watching. We will catch you next week, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, all.